Namaste. Good morning. This is, I think, the largest group of people that I've ever addressed, and I feel quite humbled. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak to you on the International Day of Peace. I am a development professional. I dedicated my life to working with countries, with their governments, with the private sector, and with civil society to improve the living conditions of all people on the planet. How did I choose that path? Let me say a few words about that. In 1988, I had the opportunity to visit Brazil. I spent 4 months in the country. I arrived not knowing a single word of the language, and I stayed in a very humble, in Portuguese they call it favela, on the outskirts of São Paulo, working with street children. And I was amazed by their energy, by their hopes, by their aspirations, by their music. And I decided when I came back to my home country that I wanted to study how to make those aspirations come true. And I chose the field of development. And then a year later, in 1989, another event happened that profoundly influenced my life's trajectory. The wall separating the two Germanys came down. And I had a girlfriend in East Germany at the time. And all of a sudden, thanks to history, no contribution of ourselves, we could dream of having a life together. We're still married, we have 4 children and 2 grandchildren. And this brings me to the second theme of my address, which is peace. Because Germany was divided by war, a war that Germany started. But it was reunited because peace became possible in Europe. And so those 2 themes of development, realizing the aspirations of young people, and peace, making sure that every opportunity can be realized, were the 2 themes that led me to the work that I do today. Now let me turn to you, the young people gathered in this fantastic hall. 35 years ago, I was 35 years ago, roughly as old as I think the average of you in this hall. I've seen tremendous improvement and change over those 35 years. Just give you a couple of numbers. The infant mortality in that period in India has declined by 60%. And children being born today can expect to live more than 20 years longer than children that were born at the time that I was born. These are dramatic improvements, and they mean that today in South Asia, we're looking at an enormous economic potential, the potential of the young people of this region. We estimate that 10 years from now, the South Asia region will have 1.6 billion people ready to work. And if we translate that into economic opportunities, you can see the great promise of development for this part of the world. India is currently growing its economy at a rate that delivers improvements in people's incomes of around 5 to 6% every year. That means that incomes double every 12 years, and in the next 35 years, they could increase 8 times. That gives you a sense of the promise. But let me return to the theme of peace. Because unless that promise is equally shared, unless everybody has a sense that they will have a stake in this development, that they can benefit, peace will be difficult to maintain. When people feel excluded, that creates anger. Anger can create violence. And so on today's International Day of Peace, we need to ensure, we need to remind ourselves that development has to be inclusive for development to remain peaceful. And in that respect, we still have a lot of work to do. While many more children today complete school, too few come out of the education system with the skills and the knowledge required to be successful. We estimate that at the age of 10, only around 50% of children have the knowledge that would be considered standard. And so you're losing 50% of the time you spent in school not learning the skills that you require. This is why initiatives such as Heartfulness, but many other civil society initiatives are so important, because they can help young people gain the skills that will make you successful in your professional lives. And we need to work together with governments, with the private sector, and with civil society to make that a reality. Now let me close with two observations, two themes that I believe will determine your trajectory in your adult lifetimes in a way much more significant than they determine my own. The first is the arrival of artificial intelligence. According to some estimates, by the end of this decade, artificial intelligence could add $20 trillion to the global economy. That's 5 times the Indian economy just in the next 6 years. These are huge opportunities, and all of you in this room, I'm sure, are much more computer literate than an old man like me. My children grow up learning to deal with computers, feeling comfortable with data, feeling comfortable with the digital world. This is your world, these are your opportunities. But this world also creates stresses. People get glued to their mobile phones, they get glued to social media, and they become stressed. Once again, Heartfulness has something to offer, as do other civil society organizations that try to help people become mindful and take breaks in a world that has become 24/7 and quite exhausting as a result. Making good use of these opportunities, but also retaining balance in your lives, I think is going to create, from this digital technologies, is going to create the jobs and the opportunities and the development solutions of the future. Let me come to the second theme, which when I entered my professional career was on the horizon. And I have to say, with some critical self-reflection, we should have taken it more seriously at the time, because it is now clearly upon us. This is climate change. And once again, your lives will be much more profoundly impacted by that than my own life has been, in ways that will create opportunities, but also challenges. Opportunities through new technologies, through the dramatic need to develop new ways to mitigate carbon emissions, but also develop new techniques to adapt to a changing climate. And I came here in part at the invitation of Daaji to look at the work that you are doing to create new agricultural technologies, try out new seeds, try out new production methods better suited to an arid climate, making more economic, more efficient use of the scarce and ultimately finite water resources that we have on this planet. These are enormous challenges for the world, but once again, with the energy and the hope and the aspiration of young people, these challenges can be turned into opportunities. So let me close with an appeal to all of you to make the strive for development, the strive for peace, a mission in your lives. And let me end with a quote from Abraham Lincoln, someone that I admire a lot, who says, "The best way to predict the future is to create it." Ladies and gentlemen, this is now your task, and we look forward to working with all of you to turn your aspirations and hopes for a better future and a peaceful future into reality. Thank you very much once again.
Good morning, young ladies and men, the guardians of planet Earth, ladies and gentlemen. Warm greetings from the heart to the Heartfulness Institute and all those heartily participating in this unique summit. It gives me a great pleasure to address this blessed gathering representing the present and the future. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you for the great initiative of Rising with Kindness, which we hope will start a global sustainable stream of kindness, compassion, and positive change. The most powerful lever of kindness is probably understanding, because misunderstanding lies behind most conflicts and devastating wars, and it's an act of hatred and distrust. Kindness encourages intimate connection, leading to empathy, compassion, relief of social tension, and self-confidence. I would like to congratulate you on involving the young generation in order to mobilize their energy and creativity towards empowering passionate and loving communities worldwide. We would like to see young men and women take the lead and pull the fragmented world out of the destructive political and social instability, in addition to promote green life and sustainable development. The founding father of the United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, was a typical example of such a kind leader who cared not only about his people in UAE, but also about human beings worldwide. His humanitarian aid reached needy communities in all continents. This is in addition to his care about the natural environment and wildlife, striving to make the environmental protection proceed in line with the fast and comprehensive development in the United Arab Emirates. Excellencies and honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, Zayed Foundation was established by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, UAE Vice President and Prime Minister Ruler of Dubai, in 1999 to commemorate the environmental achievements of the legendary father Sheikh Zayed and to recognize and promote environmental achievements, contributing to the implementation of sustainable development. The vision of the foundation is to become the most reputable environmental foundation promoting sustainable living worldwide. The mission is to recognize, highlight, and support outstanding international and local environmental achievements, and to disseminate the concept and practice of sustainability. This year, we are celebrating a legacy of environmental achievements and sustainable development initiatives on the occasion of the Silver Jubilee of Zayed Foundation. 25 years of awards and activities that covered all continents of the world. Zayed Foundation Prize honored individuals, organizations worldwide for the exceptional contributions to sustainability, inspiring a global movement towards a greater environmental responsibility. We hosted the last UN Climate Conference, COP28, in Dubai, with the vision of accelerating a transition that puts our economies on the path towards a new low-carbon, high-growth, sustainable economic model in a way that is both transformational and just. We believe that together we can do it. The UAE has also played a major role in developing and adopting the UN Sustainable Development Goals and is now leading in this area. Ladies and gentlemen, we are joining this great experience at the world headquarters of the Heartfulness Institute in Hyderabad because we like the idea of building a global community with like-minded people who can drive this momentum towards kind villages, cities, countries, and world community. We are also here to witness two unique programs of the Heartfulness Institute. First, to understand the heartful work of afforestation and rainforest created in this dry region. The second is the self-development practices such as relaxation, meditation, and rejuvenation that can help us relief of stress and find inner peace in our agitating life. This is in addition to the education, environment, and wellness programs. Let me again congratulate the Heartful Institute for planting over 1 million trees and establishing a nursery of tens of millions of saplings from over 800 species and 100 families, including endangered species in the originally barn area of Kanha. This is an outstanding achievement. We look forward to further collaboration and joint programs with this unique institute serving humanity. Thank you again and have a wonderful conference.
Good morning to one and all. Good morning to one and all. Youth is here, and I'm going to address to all of you. The only thing I'm going to share is the journey of mine when I was born to reach here on the stage. Mr. Martin asked me, did you address to 10,000 youth here? I said, I did not address, but I'm used to it because my uncle, Saujibai Dolakia, has been addressing, and I'm always with him like a shadow behind him, so I'm used to it. When I talk about my uncle, I will start the journey of our family, and then why did Daaji call me here to end with the story. So first of all, my uncle, when he was 12 years old, all the way from our village in Amreli district in Gujarat, came to Surat as a polisher because my grandfather and grandmother wanted all of us to be in Surat for whatever reason they wanted that work in the city. If you don't want to study, no problem, but you must go to city. And my uncle did not like to go to the city, but he stayed for 3 years, worked hard, and thought if I gather some money, my grandmother will ask him to stay back. But that they never ended because my grandmother gave him 3 targets that be a big man, be a good man, and have some fame in the society. Till day, we have been increasing our values and traditions in our company and family. And my uncle in 1992 started Hare Krishna exports with all 3 brothers. So my father and my uncle, they are 4 brothers. And in second generation, we are 8 brothers, and I'm 5th one towards it. And as I mentioned, why am I here? We'll share in the story. So I'm only here to share our story and tradition and family values. After we started Hare Krishna exports in 1992, my uncle and family thought, why can't we have our own charitable trust which could do good to the society? In 1996, we started our Hare Krishna Charitable Trust with promoting our society and community in terms of how can we help them. And we started educating to IS officers, to the teachers, to the principals, giving back to the society. That was a small step towards contributing to the society. As we grown in our company and our employees, we were thinking, how can we good to do to our employees, because charity starts with our own family and our employees. So in 2014, you must have heard about a company in diamond industry giving away cars, houses, and jewelry, and that was the thought behind how can we have standard of living of our employees. And first, as Daaji always says, you first think about your family and then to the society. So my uncle thought, why can't we have increase in standard of living of our employees? And I still remember in 2014, the average salary of our employees was 100,000 rupees per month. And when we thought that we want to give back in 2008, the average salary was 12,000 rupees. So my uncle not just thought about our own employees, but how can we give back in the society of industry that we live in, and competitors and others also had to increase the standard of living of all the diamantiers. My uncle himself was a polisher, so he knew what is the value of a diamond artisan, because those people who buy diamonds are much more richer, but the money doesn't go down the line beneath where the polishing happens, and similarly it's about agriculture. So my uncle thought, how can we give back to our employees and industry? When I talk about the second generation, we have a tradition in our company and family that when they graduate, because my father and they were only 4th grade, but second generation all did their MBAs and BBAs and graduates from UK and US. I thought differently to be with my uncle in Surat and my other uncle called Ganchamba in Mumbai. So I had studied with both of them together, and also in our journey of learning manufacturing is definitely there for 3 years training. And then I went to Mumbai for 4 years training, learning sales, manufacturing and IT. That's how we all have tradition to learn where our family belongs to. As simple as that, you must know your manufacturing processes, because that's where your family had started with. No matter what business you want to go in, but you must learn manufacturing. That was the core thing that we must learn. I still remember a day in 2011 when I started my journey learning manufacturing. In 2 years down the line, I got engaged, and my wife is sitting right here. The day when I went to the factory, I switched off my phone. I belong to the same youth. You all are sitting here, and without a phone in a single day, we can't live in. When the battery goes down, our heartbeats are increasing. In that world, I switched off my phone just to focus on the career that I was looking at. And after engagement, you all know, we cannot live without each other. That's the wording that we start with. But my wife appreciated that you want to focus on business. I'm fine with it. And all the weekends, I still remember, she used to come all the way where we were there with the families. After 7 years of training, so remember youth, I'm just here to share my experience, and whatever you think you can implement, definitely you should. I'm not here to advise. So down the line, 7 years of training, and then now I'm always with my uncle. Past 6 years, wherever he was for any event or for any occasion, he has never gone for he's like, I will go with my wife, my auntie, and we'll have a vacation, you do your own stuff. No. It's always been a day that I was always together wherever he was. And I'm just very feeling proud that the reason why I'm here also is because that I had always been with my uncle. I still remember 2 years back we were here, and Daaji just called my uncle and he showed him around. They both indulge in the activity that has passion towards giving back to the nature. And I want to share a small story. When Prime Minister of India inaugurated our facility in 2017, my uncle thought, we took 36 minutes of our nation. How can we say thank you to our Prime Minister? And my uncle thought, we will make one big lake in the village where there is scarcity of water. And again, in 4 months, my uncle worked hard in the degree of -45, and day and night, 18 hours. There were many excavation and kind of a mining thing happening, but we made one lake in 4 months. And again in 4 months, Prime Minister was supposed to come to our district, and my uncle said that I wrote a letter to you and the lake is ready. My uncle was so kind enough to invite Prime Minister again, and Prime Minister said yes, that okay, I will come. And in 4 months, Prime Minister again inaugurated a lake in the village where there is scarcity of water. My uncle took up a mission that I will make 100 lakes. Why I'm sharing this story is giving back to nature is always good, and nature gives you back in all the ways. Past 7 years, my uncle has worked hard, but beneath his heart, there was a ultimatum for him to start second generation taking over the responsibility and delegate the whole responsibility of the company to second generation. And my uncle Ghanshyam, in 6 years, he has never taken a single decision of the company, but company is running the same way. He feels that while he is working towards the nature, it's nature's responsibility to take care of the company. When I say why we are all gathered here is also because we want to learn from each other, and that's why the main story starts now. Daaji heard, how second generation get trained. I want to start again a story with my uncle always took, nephews or sons wherever they go because there was an English barrier. So when they used to go to exhibition of diamonds in UK or in Basel or in US, he always took us together. So my 3 elder brothers, when they were, just in high school, they went to Basel show happening in Switzerland. And they went to a restaurant, and since there was a language barrier, my brothers ordered all the food, and at the end of the day, everyone looks at the bill, same way my uncle did. And he said, "Why did you order papad here? I'm sure everyone knows what is papad." And there was a 3-pound papad, and my uncle did not scold at that moment. Uncle said, 3-pound papad we can have all day over in India if you had not ordered. But my uncle thought, we as in second generation never has to thought about money. It's not about that we did not care, but uncle always had papad and we ordered it. So my 3 elder brothers were, they did not know, that they had not supposed to order papad in London, rather they can eat in India all the time. My uncle thought, how can I teach the value of money, and how my uncle and they have grown up. So my uncle in 6 months got out to a program, and that's what I'm here to share with you after giving the background of our family and the company. My uncle asked the motivational speaker that he's thinking to send 3 brothers to a city where they have never gone, without giving any identity, with a limited money of only 500 rupees. This I'm sharing you story of 2003 and 4, so it's a long time back that this was happened. And the motivational speaker says that this will be great if you can implement, because I know while I'm sharing here, there was not many people who could implement. So in 2003, my uncle decided to send one of them to Pune, one of them to Jaipur, and one of them to Baroda. That was the first ever time my uncle thought that in second generation, this could be a helpful story. So all the 3 brothers went. The conditions are such that they were only given 500 rupees. A train ticket, they did not know, where they were supposed to go. So when you get the ticket, you know which city are you going to go. With 1 month minimum, meaning 30 days that you have to live there. No identity, meaning you do not have to say that you belong to Hare Krishna group or Dulakya family. So kind of, we didn't know that time what to do, but these were the conditions that were given. And I will share what happened, next. So all 3 brothers came back and said that, when we went to high school or college, we never learned such values of what we could learn there. So rather than sharing their story, I would start with mine. So again, when I completed 12th, I was just about 18 years, and same thing, was asked to me, are you ready to go? And I was like, yeah, because I felt already that this is going to be tradition of the family that everyone has to go. So they just told me that next morning you have a flight to Bangalore, and after that you have to be there and come back by yourself. The only condition is that you get 500 rupees. I got a flight ticket because Bangalore was far, and they did not want it to miss 2 days of train. You do not have to give any identity. So day 1, when I reached here in Bangalore, I didn't know that the airport and where I was supposed to go was far. I thought I will go to some of the ashram, and I felt Shri Shri ashram was very good, and I heard in the news about it. And when I thought about it, I didn't know that it is so far. All the way morning 6 o'clock I started. I reached there by bus, by train, and by rickshaw at evening 6 o'clock, because I had to save money how I go. So I took, lifts and everything by reaching there. Next morning I started, and I thought, there is always MG road in each city wherever we go. So I started going to MG road and looking from door to door to ask whether is there a vacancy or not. Couple of them told me, where is your CV? And at the age of 18 in 2008, I didn't know what is CV, what they were talking about. And I said, what do you need? And they were like, at least write down about yourself. And I went to cyber and computers, and I just tabbed about myself. And take the printed of 10. So somewhere when I go to CCD and they were like, come next Wednesday. And I did not have time to, wait for next Wednesday. So I just came back by myself, and nobody took me as giving me a job. Of course, I'm saying it so peacefully right now, but there were cryings for more than a couple of days because I never stayed by myself and asking for a job. Next day again I went, I did not succeed. Third day when I went to Subway and they were like, we have a job by the way, but it's a different area called Jayanagar. I still remember. I was like, wherever you want, I can, but I am needing job. So on the fourth day, I got a job in Subway, and I looked after where I can stay after 3 days in ashram. I found Jain ashram to be there, and every day I have to pay 100 rupees. So paying 100 rupees every day is also a hell of a task, because in my pocket it was only 500. I still remember I never had breakfast and dinner. The only thing I used to have is lunch of 18 rupees aloo parotha, and I used to request them, can you put a little bit of cheese? And I used to like cheese a lot. So this is how I stayed there. And after 7 days of Subway, every day I used to call my uncle, and I was like, uncle, I'm very fine, I think I'll complete my 30 days. He was like, okay, change the job. I was like, I'm just settled in, 7 days has gone, and you're asking to change the job. But I didn't know that you have to do 4 jobs in 4 weeks. So I was like, okay. So again, I went back, to the leads that I had. Someone said Wednesday, okay, let me go back. So the next job was at United Nations of Benetton. And at those points, they had discounted time zones, where in morning 7 to 11 a.m. they had a discount. Also in the evening at 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. And they need someone to fold the clothes, because when there is discounts, everyone just opened up. So I still remember a day, the whole day from 7 to 11, I used to fold the clothes. And after 1 week, I did a job at Reebok, making wear shoes to different people who used to come there. And then 2 days of train ticket I took, and that is how I completed 31 days. This is what Daaji liked a lot, because when you are taking interview, the companies like us in second generation, sometimes we do not know the values of employment, and you do not care if someone is leaving. But right now, in all second generation, we have done this training, and when you are hiring, you will know about their difficulties time if they say they are coming from village, and you actually understand them. And someone has a hard time, you try to understand. You never want to fire someone just because they are not performing, but rather you will motivate them. So I still remember days when my uncle takes meeting every month and we have 6,000 employees. I was just telling Martin about it, that such gatherings are usual for us. And every month my uncle motivates each and every employee. And that is why my journey, as I mentioned, when I was born to here, why did I come all the way to address here, is the journey and the tradition and family values that we have. And that is why I'm here. But I want to mention something about why my uncle is known as he is. His name is Saujibai Dulakia, and after started the company, and past 7 years he has been doing water conservation project. After finishing 75th lake, we mentioned to Prime Minister when we went there to give invitation card of my younger brother's wedding, he said, did you complete 75, you said? And he was shocked that a single man can do 75 lakes. Why can't each district? And if you remember, before a couple of years, Prime Minister mentioned to all the districts, I think the IS officer is also here, that you must make 70 lakes in your district. The journey did not finish. After receiving Padma Shri award at the 75th lake, my uncle thought this journey should continue. And right now we have completed 155 lakes, and the journey still continues as a river mission. And as I mentioned that I'm always with my uncle, and 2 years back, the Prime Minister mentioned to my uncle that, are you not tired of doing this work? And my uncle said, no, since the motivation comes from top of the line, my uncle said, we will still continue. And Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel called my uncle that, I know that you have a river conservation project and you are going to complete, because we had already finished 35 kilometers river conservation project. He said, I want to do 4 rivers in our state. My uncle was like, yeah, if you will, then we can do it. And coming out, uncle told me just one thing. We had 20 excavation machines, and my uncle said, if we have 100, we could complete 3 rivers. So this, I'm talking about 2 years back. And we as a team started organizing. I still remember there are people here from World Bank, and there was a water conference happening last year after 46th year, and I went there when my younger son was supposed to born in US. When I visited a couple of times, I told my uncle, I see there is water conference happening in US, and he was like, yeah, so what? I was like, I think we can represent our foundation. And he said, but what is the use? I was like, I don't know what is the use, but the level at work that we do and what you are making the water conservation project, I feel the world should know. He's like, okay, if you think, you can go ahead. And I registered our foundation and did all the processes. Out of 728 organizations in the world, out of 29 were from India, and we were one of them. So in just 7 years, you think where we can reach if there is a will. And I met a girl called Kazaya. Why I'm sharing is because the youth is here. At the age of 23, I invited her to all the way from America to Amreli. Amreli is a small district in Gujarat. I think we have 33 districts. The last number is our village. And she came all the way to see the water project, and she stayed there. So the past 2 years, she is working with us. And as I mentioned, that Chief Minister wanted 4 rivers. We are already started doing 4th river right now. When you see the Baroda has a flood over there, and Chief Minister called my uncle, can you work here? My uncle says, the same thing what we did in our district, it could be replica everywhere. And if you remember, there was a flood last year in Junagadh district in Gujarat. In 1 year, we cleaned. There was so much of sewage coming in. We deepen it, and it is within the city, so nobody can take a risk. But my uncle said, since we are doing for the nature, we shouldn't worry about it. So we never thought about social media, getting into the news about bad news, and there is a lot going on. But my uncle said, let's do it. So last year we did it Junagadh River. This year we are going to start with Baroda River. Why I'm sharing all this is, my uncle took up a mission now to revive rivers wherever we can. And today morning, while having breakfast, delegates are sitting here, and we're also talking, rivers needs to be regenerated here in India, and I think that's what the farmer needs. I started with I'm going to share my story, and I'm just sharing you all the way from Surat to here, just thinking about how can we give back. So whenever, the entrepreneurs or the businessmen or wherever you work for someone, think about it, how can we, help others? And that's what we are here to learn in Kanha as well. I'm thankful to Daaji just to call up and say, can you come here and share the story? I was like, yeah, definitely. One of my brothers will definitely come. And, for 2 weeks, we were just waiting to hear from uncle, who should it go? So when I say that uncle picked up me, that you can go and share your story, because out of 8 brothers, I'm the 5th one in the family, and 4 elder brothers and 3 younger brothers. I'm always with my uncle, and he thought I could share the story, and that's why I'm here. But I have always tried giving and balancing to 8 brothers, because 4 are elders, so you have to convince them, and 3 are younger, so you shouldn't order them. Rather, how can you help all the 8 brothers? That has been my target always, and I think that's why I'm here. So I wanted to share a small story about our family and our company. Thank you patiently listening to me. Thank you so much.
With us, I now respectfully invite Shri Uttam Kumar Reddy ji, Honorable Minister for Irrigation and Civil Supplies, Government of Telangana, to address all of us.
Friends, it's a pleasure and a privilege to be with you today. The Honorable Chief Minister, Mr. Revanth Reddy, was to come and address this gathering, but he was tied up in some emergency issues. So you can say that I am substituting on his behalf. At the outset, I must say I'm very, very impressed by the campus and the kind of programs that are being done. It's truly mind-boggling. Honestly, I did not have much knowledge of this place. Though I've heard of Ramchandra Mission and their work, over the last few years, but this particular center and the remarkable work that is being done here and the programs being done here is an eye-opener for me. And I'm sure the way this campus, the programs, and the dedication and the commitment with which the people running this organization and the programs, truly in the world this would be one of the most outstanding places and outstanding programs. And I'm so glad for all of you, and I think you're all very lucky and fortunate to be participating in this program. I'm told it's a 3-day program, and today is the International Peace Day, and you're having this program in that connection. Just as a matter of interest, human interest for all of you, I should also on this occasion share some of my own life experiences, because most of you would normally put politicians into one kind of a bracket in a particular mindset, and I'm very different from that. I did my initial schooling in a government school sponsored by a public sector company by the name BHEL, where my father was working. And when we were studying, after 11th class, the All India recruitment, should I say, or selection for the National Defence Academy would take place. So from a very young age, we grew up in a very patriotic family upbringing and background, and our school atmosphere also was tuned to that. So after 11th class, we appeared for an All India UPSC exam, Union Public Service Commission exam, for the National Defence Academy, NDA it's called, based in Pune. For those of you who are not familiar with what is NDA, it is the most premier military academy in the world. The equivalent in England is the West Point Military Academy, and in the US is the Sandhurst Military Academy. In India, military officers, or those who become military officers in the future, of all three services, Army, Navy and Air Force, are trained together for 3 years in all three services. It's a very, very premier, very high quality military training institute, where we do both military training and we do graduation from JNU. JNU Delhi gives us the degrees for you do BSc or BA from NDA, and we graduate from there. And it is a matter of irony that I'm a former military fighter pilot, and we are talking of on the International Peace Day. So after the training, tri-services training in the National Defence Academy, NDA, where we are trained in all three services, Army, Air Force and Navy, we are selected for our respective services, and I was selected for the Indian Air Force, and I went on to become a pilot in the Indian Air Force, for Indian Air Force. And Indian Air Force again has 3 streams. As a fighter pilot, we fly the most modern aircraft in the world to defend the motherland. And then there is a transport aircraft which are used to transport manpower and material. And then there are helicopter pilots. So I was selected to become a fighter pilot, and I was initially went on to train on the MiG-21s, which is a supersonic fighter aircraft. Supersonic means the aircraft flies at a speed faster than sound, faster than 1 Mach. 1 Mach is the speed of sound. And these fighter aircraft fly faster than the speed of sound. To give you a comparison, the aircraft that now we fly to Delhi or Bombay, or those of you who come from abroad on these aircraft, the speed is about 0.7, 0.8 Mach. These fighter aircraft fly at about 2 to 3 times the speed of sound. So these are used to defend the country in times of peace and war. And then I was selected to go to Russia and train on the MiG-23 military aircraft, military fighter aircraft. I spent some time in Russia on training on this fighter aircraft. And then we brought those aircraft back to India. I purchased those aircraft. And I was on the Pakistan and China borders for many years in our frontline combat squadrons and involved in several operational missions. I also had a very serious accident when I was flying in the Air Force. Due to some reasons, the aircraft exploded in the air. It's a single pilot aircraft. The aircraft exploded in the air, and we leave the aircraft by a process called ejection. It's like you're rocketed out of the aircraft. So I had a miraculous escape, and then you come down by parachute. And for me to recover from the accident, I was posted to the office of the President of India, and I served with 2 Presidents of India, President R. Venkatraman, President of India, and President Shankar Dayal Sharma, President of India, totally with them for about 6.5 years. And one fine day I decided that the best forum to do public service in India, though most people outside think that politics is a bad place and all politicians are, I don't know if you should use the word, are bad characters, but I came into politics from a very elite service, and while working with the President of India, I thought I must contribute my bit to improving public life in India and to contribute whatever I can for the serving the poorest of the poor and the weakest of the weak sections of society. So I resigned from when I was working with the President of India and came into politics, and then I became an MLA from a place called Kodad in Nalgonda district. Then I became consecutively 6 terms as an MLA, elected for 6 times. I was also, in the earlier government, Congress government, I was the Minister for Housing and Urban Development, where we did the largest housing program for the poor and the weaker sections ever in the world. We used to do 10 to 12 lakh houses a year. I was a Minister for Housing and Urban Development, and then subsequently the state got divided and I came into Telangana state. After 6 terms as MLA, I was elected as a Member of Parliament. I was a member of the last Lok Sabha till 6 months back, and I was a member of the parliamentary committees on defense, energy and such like, made some contribution to running of the government of India, our own humble way. And then I came back into the state politics, got elected again, and now I am the Minister for Irrigation, Food and Civil Supplies in the state. I was also the President of the Congress Party for the state for a very long time, for about 6.5 years. I'm just giving you this varied background. It's of some human interest. You know, normally you'll find any politician coming, they're of a different background, and I've just been fortunate that God has given me an opportunity to serve in various ways, to serve as a soldier for the country, to serve in the highest office of the land, and to serve again now in another capacity. I'm a deeply spiritual person, and while I may not visit the temple and I may not pray every day too, but I'm a deeply devout Hindu. I believe in God, I believe in prayer, and I try to mold my life around that. And I'm very, very impressed with the work being done by your mission and by your center. And it's unfortunate that I did not know about this earlier. You people are doing remarkably well. I mean, this is just fantastic work that you're doing here. And the program that you're participating in, if I was invited, I would participate in your program too. Maybe the organizers and this center people who run it, if they invite me, I'd like to myself participate in certain programs. And today being an International Peace Day, you're doing a big program for this, and I must express some concerns about mine regarding the situation in the world globally now. It should concern us all that mankind now in 21st century, firstly, I believe that mankind is largely responsible for all the major problems on the earth. Whether it is pollution, or whether it is ecological degradation, or many species getting wiped out over a period of time. It is what Mahatma Gandhi said, there's enough for everyone's need, but not for everyone's greed on our planet. So we all need to work for, sustaining the earth, the planet as we know it. And the international situation and the way we are going now, globally it should be alarming for all of us that a situation of confrontation, a situation of warlike situation seems to be happening in more and more places in the world. It is very unfortunate. I mean, in the year 2024, we should be expecting that mankind would learn to live more peacefully and more harmoniously with each other. But it appears that there are more and more flashpoints developing all over the world where there is intolerance for others' points of view or intolerance for others' beliefs. And this should be a matter that should seriously concern all of us. And I'm sure your center, your thought process, your ideology, your beliefs, and the large number being, going through some kind of an orientation or spending some time here will help globally in sustaining in the world a peaceful and a harmonious atmosphere for everybody. I congratulate the Guruji and everybody else who's running this wonderful, beautiful establishment, this place. I really wish I had more time to spend with you people. And for any of you who are from here or who have come from other places, I can assure you on behalf of the Chief Minister and of our government, we will do whatever we can to support your center, to support your activities, and we think you're a great institution and you should grow more and more to global standards and be a landmark institution for the kind of activity you're doing in spirituality, meditation, in spreading harmony in the world and a pollution-free world. I deeply appreciate and I wish you all the very best. Good luck. God bless.